Bria Hartley might be taking the trophy home for MVP, most dirty player in the league.
They call the fans racist, but the players are showing pure hatred and racism on the court, attacking players.
Prayers up for Sophie Cunningham. One half of the Blonde Bombers. Sophie, the trophy, is done for the season.
Her sister, Lindsay Cunningham, says at WNBA, maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating, more about hiring officials.
In the WNBA, you must protect yourself at all times in the WNBA.
Things just turned ugly in the WNBA.
Sophie Cunningham went down with an injury.
Now when she dives, when she sees Sophie leg extending and she dives down, that's an unnatural movement.
Sophie Cunningham goes down after a brutal hit from Bria Hartley, and her sister is not holding back.
And Bria Hartley just kind of plows through her leg by the looks of things. She kind of plows through the knee, and Sophie's holding like her patella.
She destroys Hartley and blasts the league for failing to protect its players. And now Caitlin Clark has stepped into the conversation. Let's break down what just happened.
Now they just lost Sophie. If you watch the game, Sophie had a knee injury. So it says Bria Hartley always at the scene of the crime, extending her fall right into Sophie Cunningham's leg. The Suns team's out of control. It's going to the basket. She used her momentum, bumped into Kelsey, and then ran right into Sophie Cunningham's leg right there.
In what should have been just another tough game, things spiraled out of control when Bria Hartley came crashing into Sophie Cunningham's knee.
Players getting hurt, players getting chucked from games, players getting like into scraps is basically, it all stems from the referees being bad at their jobs. The referees not being able to control the game.
The play looked reckless, and immediately you could see Sophie was in serious pain. For Fever fans, it was déjà vu. Yet another key player hurt because of physicality that never should have gone unchecked.
I will agree with plays completely out of control, and I think Bria Hartley's the dirtiest. She's reckless. Bria Hartley, I don't know. She might just be completely out of control. So that's something like completely reckless is fine.
And let's be real here. This wasn't just bad luck. Hartley has built a reputation across the league for being out of control. She's been ejected multiple times, accused of going straight for players' knees, and constantly leaves chaos in her wake.
I think if it was anyone other than Bria Hartley or Marina Mabrey on the Sun team, everyone would have just said, no, it's not intentional, it was completely accidental.
Even commentators pointed out that if this had been almost any other player, people might have called it an accident. But with Hartley, the history speaks for itself.
First 2 minutes, or some said for good reason, first 2 minutes, refs gifted a tech to the Sun where the refs should have called a jump ball, but they let the scuffle go on and Sophie had to push off. In fairness, yeah, like Sophie Cunningham 1,000,000% deserved the tech.
The most frustrating part? Once again, the referees let the game get out of hand. Early on, there were missed calls, unnecessary scuffles, and even a sequence where Sophie herself was shoved to the ground with no whistle until it escalated.
Now they just lost Sophie. If you watch the game, Sophie had a knee injury. So it says Bria Hartley always at the scene of the crime, extending her fall right into Sophie Cunningham's leg. The Suns team's out of control. It's going to the basket. She used her momentum, bumped into Kelsey, and then ran right into Sophie Cunningham's leg right there.
By the time Hartley made her reckless dive, the damage was done. Another injury to a starter, another moment that could have been prevented if officials had done their jobs.
You must protect yourself at all times in the WNBA. You don't know when a player is going to undercut your legs. You don't know when a player is going to roll up your leg. You don't know when a player is going to cut you out of the air because there is no rules in the WNBA.
This is becoming a pattern. Fans are tired of watching players go down because referees won't take control. Sophie's injury wasn't just about one collision. It was about a league that keeps allowing dangerous, reckless play to decide games and put careers at risk.
Her sister, Lindsay Cunningham, says at WNBA, maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie.
If fans were outraged, Sophie Cunningham's family took it to another level. Her sister Lindsay Cunningham didn't hold back. She called out the WNBA directly, saying the league spends more time fining players for speaking their minds than actually protecting them on the court.
And then Sophie Cunningham's sister, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, so Fowler.
Her message was clear. Stop worrying about silencing criticism and start hiring officials who can call a consistent game and keep athletes safe.
Paula Cunningham. Shout out to Paula. Paula went. She says, Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out of control.
And then came Sophie's mom, Paula, who went full mama bear mode. She scorched Bria Hartley as a disgruntled, reckless player who has caused trouble everywhere she's gone. Paula accused Hartley of targeting players' knees, the one area that can end careers instantly.
Hartley enjoys hurting people. She goes after people's knees. A dirty player, a lot of guys are dirt.
For any athlete, a knee injury is devastating. And Paula made it clear that Hartley's style of play isn't just reckless, it's dangerous. Their words echoed what fans have been saying all season.
You don't know when a player is going to undercut your legs. You don't know when a player is going to roll up your leg. You don't know when a player is going to cut you out of the air because there is no rules in the WNBA.
This isn't about one bad fall. It's about a culture the WNBA has let grow where cheap shots and dangerous plays go unchecked. Families shouldn't have to step in to demand accountability, but here they are, fighting to protect Sophie and every other player who's at risk.
So they're not aware that there's a consensus, maybe it's an 80-20, that their officiating is terrible and their players are dirty and to a lesser degree filled with racial animus and ideological grievance.
Lindsay and Paula Cunningham's anger didn't just defend Sophie, it lit a fire under the conversation. If players' own families are speaking out this strongly, then the league has no excuse to ignore it anymore.
They have no clue that Caitlin is being targeted by other players, that the consensus is that she's being targeted, that roundly people who view the league from a distance and close up believe that there's a concerted effort to thwart her development and her progress.
What makes this story even bigger is how it connects to Caitlin Clark. Because let's be honest, Caitlin has been dealing with this exact same issue all season long.
You go all the way back to Dejanay Carrington and the poke in the eye. Mabry celebrated that poke. Then Mabry comes back again, and Mabry knocks Caitlin all to the ground. Then Mabry lays an apology. Then Mabry came in the Indiana Fever huddle as a player was injured.
From Dejanay Carrington's hard foul to Marina Mabray's reckless shove to constant cheap shots every game, Clark has been the prime target of players who think roughing her up is the only way to slow her down. And the scary part is, it's not just happening once or twice, it's a pattern.
Nearly everything in this league, when it comes to players getting hurt, players getting chucked from games, players getting into scraps, is basically, it all stems from the referees being bad at their jobs. The referees not being able to control the game.
The league knows Caitlin is the face of the WNBA. She's the reason ratings are at an all-time high. She's the one selling out arenas, and she's the one bringing in new fans every single night. Yet despite all that, she's often left completely unprotected.
Prayers up for Sophie Cunningham. One half of the Blonde Bombers. Sophie, the trophy, is done for the season.
If it wasn't for Sophie Cunningham going down with apparently what looks like a knee injury,
opponents have taken advantage of the weak officiating, hitting her with shots that would never fly in other professional leagues. That's why Sophie's injury hits so close to home. In fact, Sophie herself said it best in a recent interview. She praised Caitlin's work ethic, calling her a perfectionist, a leader, and flat out the face of the league.
It's one of the worst elements of the W. Officiating is inconsistent. Worse, they check their own homework that needs to change. There's inherent bias in every replay. Yeah, exactly. The replay system makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense. I have literally seen them get out of bounds calls wrong on replays.
Sophie talked about how Caitlin spends hours in the gym, rehabbing and training, even through injury, because she's committed to being great. She also pointed out something fans don't always see.
Would Caitlin Clark take a look at where this team is at right now and say, for the sake of my health, this team's not winning at all this year. We've got too many injuries. Our depth is no longer any good on this team. Do I want to come back and risk yet further injury? I don't know.
The pressure of being 22 years old with the entire sports world watching. Sophie made it clear, Caitlin Clark is built differently, and she's carrying the WNBA into a new era. And Caitlin's response to all of this? Pure professionalism.
When you go back and look at it, she does like a little stop and then she falls. Like, come on, fam. You are dirty.
Even after being on the receiving end of dangerous fouls, even after watching her teammates like Sophie go down, Caitlin has never taken the bait.
You're hoping that you've got a team where you're looking at Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Natasha Howard, Leah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, even though Lexi has not been good offensively lately.
Instead, she's focused on her recovery, on supporting her team, and on making sure that when she returns, she's 100% ready to lead the Fever.
For Sophie Cunningham, and don't speculate too much on that, I do believe because it was a contact injury, it could bode better than obviously a non-contact injury. Still looked scary on site.
Her coach, Steph White, even emphasized that Clark's long-term health is more important than rushing her back. Because everyone knows if the Fever want any chance at contending, it starts with Caitlin being healthy. The truth is, Caitlin Clark's handling of these moments shows why she's already the leader of this league. She's not out here complaining or throwing cheap shots back.
From Sophie Cunningham, Kelsey Mitchell isn't real from Sydney Colson, MVP Kels from Caitlin Clark. Sydney Colson saying Bree Turner stepping up and defending like that in the fourth, plus driving and kicking to Lex for that last three. And then Caitlin Clark battled, so proud with the heart emoji. And as I put it, if you're Caitlin Clark, that's the kind of win that lets you know you need to be back, right? Like if you can, you need to be back.
She's showing toughness the right way by taking the hits, keeping her composure, and proving that her game will always speak louder than the hate. And now with Sophie Cunningham's family speaking out, the spotlight is brighter than ever on the WNBA's failure to protect its players. Fans are connecting the dots. If the league can't even keep Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham safe, then what does that say about the future of women's basketball?
I don't think it's anything too crazy. And the big thing for Sophie is you hope it's not an ACL because you want her back for next season.
Bria Hartley always at the scene of the crime, extending her fall right onto Sophie Cunningham's leg.
Caitlin Clark, if Caitlin Clark comes back, this team got a chance, y'all. I'm telling you, even without Ari, without Sophie.
But it looked like she walked off in pain, out for the rest of the game. Only played 10 minutes.
This is bigger than one injury or one foul. This is about how the WNBA treats its stars, how it values its future, and whether it's willing to change. And at the center of it all, once again, is Caitlin Clark, the player who represents both the league's greatest hope and its biggest responsibility. Sophie Cunningham's injury proved once again how reckless play is hurting the league. Her family called it out, and Caitlin Clark's response showed why she's the true leader of this new era. The WNBA must protect its stars because fans don't tune in for cheap shots, they tune in for greatness. And nobody represents that better than Caitlin Clark.